Hi, Joe Cerrone.
And Al Rosen.
Today we're going to be troubleshooting modeling questions from our assignment last week. As you recall, last week we started modeling the conference rooms, and we're using the Design Center 3D components to just add things like this chair here and some of these chairs around the table. And what we're going to do now is we're going to show how to add in a floor to the model. And so we're going to switch back to AutoCAD. And we've been troubleshooting this file for one of the other students in the class, and so we thought we would use it. Right now, one of the techniques that we've gone through is to create layers and to put different objects on different layers, and then to manage the layers by turning things on and off. The other thing you want to do is you want to manage your visual styles, whether it's a visual style for conceptual or 2D wireframe, or as shown here, it's for X-ray. And so if I went to 2D wireframe, AutoCAD works better in 2D wireframe than it does in these rendered out images. And so if things are glitching on you, if you can't see things, change your visual style and keep working with it. Let's talk about how to go through and create a floor plan here, and I think I'll have you do the talking and I'll do the drive-in, and we can start by creating a floor layer. Does that sound good?
Sounds fantastic.
So I like to put these little toolbars on here, but you may see me go and do that. We're on the wall layer right now, so I'll create a new layer, and I'm going to call it floor. Choose a color that's different from the existing color. So there's already a layer called floor. So what I'll do is I'm just going to call it floor 2. It's not a difference. I'll just do the same thing. I'm going to choose a color that's going to be that color. Let's get something a little bright so we can see it. The shade of green should be okay. And these panels will disappear if you don't hover over them or if you don't lock them. So a lot of the problems I'm having and other students are having is just with the interface of the software, and it just takes time. We're going to add a line weight to this. It's easier to see with at least a 0.5. The standards call for 0.6 millimeters, so we'll just follow the standards from the book, but that is how that is. All right, let's make that layer current. So we'll come up here and make our floor layer current. I just call it floor 2. And then for our color, make sure that your color is set as by layer, or you're going to be overriding the color properties. We're going to take a top view. And then I was just going to trace around the edge of the room. What do you think, Al?
Well, you got to make sure that the wall is not total height. Because you put in the height, it's going to catch the top versus the bottom. And you want it in the bottom portion of the wall.
So what he's talking about is the Z height, or the elevation of the drawing. And you can't see any elevations when you're in 3D, or when you're in a top view, excuse me. When you're in an isometric view, what we want to be careful of is that we're not putting some of the geometry on the top edge and some of the geometry for the floor on the bottom edge. And so if I click on the wall, we'll see that it's on layer wall, and we're going to turn off layer wall and just see what happens. Terrific. So what happened was we still have our ghost image of the floor from the 2-dimensional drawing, and it's on layer 0 and it's blue. So that's good for this technique. We'll go back to a top view. We're already on our floor layer.
Right. And there's 2 ways of doing it. You can either do it with it as is and trace over with a line, or you can do it with a rectangle. Go to rectangle, and you want to start off with a top edge. I can't see what you did, Joe.
That's okay. I got the rectangle from here to here, and that's it. So I traced a rectangle, and this is a rectangular room. So that works really well. If it wasn't a rectangular room, you would create a polyline and just go from endpoint to endpoint around the perimeter of the room. Now that we have the floor in on the layer floor, we can go to an isometric view and we should be able to see it. And this again is layer management. So when you have line on line type geometry, you have to be able to select the correct geometry. One way is by layer management. I can just turn off layer 0 and I can still see it's not a real bright color. So I'm going to make that a darker green. Come on. So let's make it a brighter green. And then let's put on a line weight that we can see for that too. So the line weight's on. I'm going to just over exaggerate it. See if it shows up. Nope. If I right click on the line weight settings, I can display override. There we go.
Yep.
Can you see it now, guys? A little better?
Beautiful. And now all you want to do is 2 ways of doing it. You can either extrude it or press pull.
Yeah, I recommend extrude here because press pull is like a hatch pattern. It sends out and checks the perimeter of the boundary. And anything that's on that same level will get picked up. So I use extrude and I'll select the line here or the rectangle, hit enter. And then how far down do you want to go?
You want to go down 6 inches.
So if you go vertical, then it's going to go through the chairs. So you got to think about it as like a boat on the water, above the water or below the water. And this is going to go below the water because the water or sea level or floor level, elevation level is 0 and the chairs are at 0 plus. And so you want the floor at 0 minus. And so we'll say -6. And that way you start to understand Z heights. We can turn our conceptual on and check. And this is what we were talking about, how the chairs were disappearing. And so our student said the same thing. You know, as soon as I change it to a visual style, and if we go back to 2D wireframe, well, there's a problem, Al.
No, it's a video card. If you move the thing in and out and go into what, go to conceptual right now real quick. Okay, you have it there. Now, the chairs are there. They're not showing up. What you want to do is go back to where it says conceptual. Click on it and go down to where it says 3D wireframe. Wireframe at the bottom. And make sure that the color green is off. And it should come up. Change it to a different layer, please.
So what happened was that the chairs are on layer 0. So I'm going to say, turn the current layer off. And then I'm going to go and turn on layer 0. And I think they'll show up. Yep.
Yep. And you should have chairs there also. Take a look at chairs and walls.
Let's go to a top view. This is a credundum. See how the chair showed up? When we went to a top view, it seems to reset. So this is a glitchy drawing.
Try typing in.
Well, let's not go too far into it because I think we fixed it, and we're making a video.
Okay.
So I think we did what we wanted to do, and we can now go back to an isometric view, and we've put the floor in, and we've accomplished our goal. So there we are. So again, we've recorded this. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll post this. But a lot of things are relevant with this visual style. When we start to change and manage these visual styles, we're seeing there are some technique things that we're working on. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording, and then we'll go back to our questions and stuff. So let me see, alternate tab till I get my toolbar here, and stop recording.